How you doing, everyone? Daniel Gaines here, real quick. Since I posted that last video in response to a comment, quote unquote, Matt hasn't replied back. What's the matter, Juliet? I mean, Matt? Nervous? Worried about what's to come? Should be. See, it's like this. Juliet, you would have been wise to allow things to be addressed at the most recent court hearing. That would have been the smartest thing you could have done. Because then if you would have actually played your cards right or had a competent attorney, you could have basically eliminated all the liability from yourself and put it all onto the state of Washington. All you had to do was be real about facts. The state acted without jurisdiction and everything else, because we both know that's factual. Even the courts and the judges all know that that's real and that's factual. Your attorney even knows that that's the fucking truth. The courts in the state of Washington acted in a complete absence of jurisdiction, which means not even the judges have immunity, but I'll get to that in a minute. Hold on. We're getting there, I promise. So the smartest thing you could have done was to allow it to go forward. But now, instead, you engaged in further perjury and tampering, and your attorney engaged in further fraud upon the court by knowingly filing falsified documents and perjured documents and everything else. You've just made it worse on yourself. When, again, the smartest thing you could have done, literally, was let it happen. Let it be remedied the correct way. You wouldn't have been responsible for anything. The state would have been. Now, the state would have had the option to come after you for it, but they wouldn't have, most likely. Not on that, not because of the child support. Whenever it's less than 20 grand, they probably wouldn't have came after you. The property aspect they may have, but you already know your daddy would have covered that for you easily if the state would have went after you. And you could have even gotten that thrown out of court very simply, because the courts have had plenty of opportunity to address this and have failed to do so. So again, that's the court's errors compounded with yours, means that you could have mitigated the damage to yourself and tossed the bulk of the liability onto the state and the courts. But again, you would need a competent lawyer who actually knew what the fuck he was doing and wasn't a complete fucking corrupt idiot in order to know that. But as I said, we all know that it was all done with a complete lack of jurisdiction, which means everything's void, and the fact that it's been enforced makes it a major issue. And see, the funny part is that, as I said, not even the judges have immunity. The 11th Amendment is what gives judges their judicial immunity. Judicial immunity is one of the hardest immunities to get around anywhere in this country. One of the hardest. There are a couple ways to get around immunity. One, the judge has to be acting in a non-judicial fashion, meaning doing things outside of his official capacity. That means like after hours and stuff like that, him just wanting to randomly sign orders without things going to court, blah, blah, blah. There's quite a bit that goes into that that's actually difficult to prove in some cases. In other cases, it's easy depending on the nature. But again, that's one of the only ways to get around judicial immunity. The other way, as I said, only two ways. The other way to get around judicial immunity is if the judge acts with a complete lack of jurisdiction. So, that means subject matter and personal jurisdiction not within the courtroom of the presiding judge, and the judge makes any rulings anyway without jurisdiction. They have no immunity. Which applies in this case, as we all know, even you, Juliet. Which means that the original judges who touched this can still be held liable. Every judge and commissioner who's touched this since will still be named in the lawsuit. You can also bring an action against a judge for acting outside the law, violating the law or your protected rights. States can't offer immunities from judges whenever they act outside the law or in violation of the law. So we have that completely as well. Let's do a brief rundown. We have the courts issuing void orders in 2004. Subsequently, in 2015, the evidence that was used against me, the two pieces of evidence that Juliet filed, neither one met any type of evidentiary requirements, and both should have been thrown out if not for the corruption in the family law courts. So that'll be addressed at the federal level as well. And whenever that gets thrown out, the only thing the judge had to use was a void order, which means the judge acted without jurisdiction because, well, the void order prevented him from being able to do anything other than to dismiss and offer relief. So that's that judge. Fast forward to 2014. Well, that was before Mason County. Whenever you filed the change of venue to Mason County, that was done without me being notified at all. There is no anything filed to show that I was even attempted to be notified that there was any action filed in a matter that has my name on it. That means it was done with a complete lack of jurisdiction, and that means that the courts, it was done without any type of due process protections, in complete violation of due process, which means it's void as well. Not legal binding, not standing, which means Pierce County still has the authority to address this and actually has no choice. Now, let's get to the dependency. The dependency was done based on a void order with zero other evidence against me. Zero evidence other than a void order. Judge Johnson was told that the orders were void. He said it was irrelevant. I asked for a proof of service to be filed into the case to prove that the orders were void. He said it's irrelevant. He acted with a complete lack of jurisdiction in the matter. He also acted outside the law, violated my rights and everything else. As such, even Judge Johnson is open to a fucking lawsuit from me as a judge in his official capacity. And don't worry, he is included as well. Terry Farmer, Judge Johnson, Edmund Murphy, Alicia Burton, the fucking dumb bitch that heard the restraining order, the dumb fuck who refused to address the fucking law at all in the child support matter, which again brings me back to this, Juliet. How is it you put your hands up cheering, thinking you won, but yet I essentially walked out of the courtroom, you still didn't get the attorney fees awarded to you that you wanted, and the judge in his orders states essentially that I can file in Pierce County again because Pierce County would have jurisdiction on this, because he doesn't say that it has to be moved to Mason County. He says I just have to contact child support before I renote. Renote, not refile in the correct venue, renote for his dumbass. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not filing anything else in the state of Washington. And just before you get it, instead of you getting any fucking bright ideas, trying to get this in court yourself to address this, to mitigate the liability from yourself, I won't respond. Any attempts at service, they will not be successful. It will be ignored. And I will not make any appearance whatsoever. The only thing that will happen is I will send in a notice stating the court lacks jurisdiction. As such, it has no authority to enter any kind of orders or hear any kind of matters related to me. And when they know I'm right, they will have no choice but to dismiss it, which means now it's too late. The only other venue we have left is the federal courts because the state has failed to address the sua sponte. Your fraud is a big part of that. Your criminal conduct is a big part of that. Your perjury, Juliet, is a big part of that. Which is why it's going to be more difficult now for you to get the liability off yourself and onto the state. You should have just been honest from the start, like I tried to tell you, like I wanted. All I wanted was a fucking law filing and for people to quit fucking lying. That's it. I just wanted the law filing. All I ever wanted to do was be a dad. You made sure I couldn't be one. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, there ain't shit that can be done about it at this point. Faith's about to be 18 this month. In a matter of days, actually. So, that being the case, now it's about making sure that y'all can't do this to others. And if that means you, Juliet, end up in jail, or, well, prison because of your criminal conduct, so be it. If that means Farmer and Johnson and all the rest end up off the bench and in jail, losing their law license and all, so be it. I'm quite happy with that outcome. And since you want to think this is all about money, how's this for you? I'd be willing to settle out of court for $1 in damages, so long as every fucking penny of my property gets returned to me, including the money of the value of the property you are allowed to fucking steal from me, so long as every one of the judges are put under a criminal investigation for their criminal conduct, and so long as I get to be a part of the reform that the state legislature enacts into effect immediately, I'll settle for $1 in damages. Now, the value of my property and the child support money returned would be $150,000. But that's my property and my money that was stolen from me, so that's not asking me anything except what's already fucking mine. So give me my shit back, reform criminal investigations, $1 in damages, and I'll settle. It's not about the money, you stupid fucks. It's about reform and accountability. It's about making sure the criminal actors cannot commit their criminal acts upon anyone else. It's to ensure that no other fucking fathers have to be forced to feel the way I've felt all these years and go through what I've gone through all these years. The abuse, the fucking... I'm not even going to get into that, but it's extensive. It's a lot. And it costs you a lot. I don't mean money either. That's irrelevant. That's trivial. Money comes and goes. We all know that. Money's easy to make, easy to lose. We all know that. So, again, it's never been about the money. Not at all. But when the state doesn't reform their laws, okay, cool. Then it will be a dollar amount that I will sue for. And when the state has to pay me a shitload of money, I will take a very large chunk of that money, because I don't need millions to live at all. I will take a very large chunk of that money and I will start funding it into organizations and attorneys and state senate races and everything else to get people in office who will enact the changes anyway. So either way, reform is coming and it's going to happen. No matter what happens, these judges are going to be investigated. No matter what happens, somebody's got to go to jail. You and Farmer and Johnson are the most egregious offenders in this. When it comes down to the three of you, if only one goes to jail, who do you think it's going to be? If two of the three go to jail because somebody in the judiciary has to go to jail along with you, it's not going to be Johnson. He's going to save his own ass with 20 plus years on the bench. He's going to do everything he can to throw you and everyone else under the bus. See, you want to set so much fucking store in him. What do you think he's going to do when he realizes his attorneys can't get him pulled out of this fucking action? And he's going to be facing a lawsuit for his criminal conduct, which is likely going to result in him losing his license to practice law, being removed from the bench, placed under a criminal investigation, and possibly go to jail. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to do everything he can to get the liability off himself and place it on everyone else. DCYF, the Assistant Attorney General Miles Russell, you and your attorneys, the other attorneys involved, the other commissioners and judges who are under him, who should have addressed this before it ever got to him. All of you people are going to be thrown under the bus by Johnson. If you think I'm wrong, look into every fucking case in the history of this country that's ever involved a judge, where there's been people under that judge who could have been thrown under the bus. You will see every fucking one of those cases is the same thing. The judge, in an effort to save their own ass from their criminal conduct, start naming other fucking people that were involved to get the focus off of them. Quite a bit of times it'll actually work too, unfortunately, which is part of the problem. But I've already got something in store for that too when that happens. Trust me. Y'all want to act in violation of the law, in violation of my protected rights? Y'all want to act without due process and without jurisdiction? Okay, you were warned. And see, for anybody who might think that Juliet hasn't responded for some reason or another, her criminal trial, unless it's been pushed back again, is not until after Faith's birthday. Or shortly before her birthday, I think it is. Right around her birthday. So it's still not for another, almost week? Let's see, today's the 8th of July, so yeah, almost another week or so, 10 days or so for her trial. So she's not in jail. She's not getting ready because chances are her attorneys are going to keep trying to get it pushed back and continued, or she's going to keep swapping attorneys just to force the courts to continue it, because the longer they drag it out, the more likely the state is to offer some slap on the wrist fucking settlement or plea deal to just get it done and over with. And that's what she's being told, and that's what she's going to do. She's going to try to take the easiest out, same as she did last time, took a plea deal to avoid any kind of real fucking criminal trouble because her daddy's money. Exactly what's going to happen this time. So it's not because she's in jail that Matt hasn't responded to my last video whenever I answered this question, or answered, her question, because it's Juliet. Or it's one of her friends making comments that she's having them put. Like she's telling them what to say and they're saying. One of the two. She ain't got the balls to confront me directly. She damn sure ain't got the fucking guts to get on a fucking videotaped video call and debate the facts with me. Even with her attorney, she ain't got the fucking balls to do that. Her attorney ain't even got the balls to do that, to go over material facts with me. Nah. Ain't none of them got the balls to do that because they already know. But anyway, she hasn't responded, Juliet, or Matt, quote unquote, hasn't responded to the last video because they're nervous and scared. Because if I've actually been studying and researching filing on the federal level, like I said, for the last 18 plus months, that means that she's aware by now I know what the fuck I'm doing. Because I'm sure she's been shocked by the depth of what I know and everything else. Now she's going to say I don't know shit, that it's all lies and I'm wrong and blah, blah, blah. But yet still not once has anybody been able to find anything where on the record a judge or attorney has been able to successfully tell me I'm wrong or incorrect in my application or use of anything. They cannot tell me I'm wrong on the record. Off the record, they will. All day long, they'll try and tell me I'm wrong. On the record, where they're accountable for their words, they won't dare fucking utter that. They won't dare utter you're wrong. They won't dare even think it because they know. All they're going to do is think, fuck, how can I get around this? And the answer to that's already on YouTube. Y'all have already heard it. They can't. No, we can't think of any legal reasons. They're on the record admitting this. All of them. So, with that being said, it comes down to being scared and nervous. If I've actually been researching this for the last 18 months, that means I'm good to go on filing. And then the kicker is I have an attorney I'm paying to help me out. An attorney with a lot of years experience at the federal level. And if that's the case, that means that it will be successfully filed. It will be properly filed and everybody will be properly served. And then that means it's going to at least be heard. At least until the state tries their motions to dismiss. Now, she's being told by her lawyer the state's motions to dismiss will be granted and blah, blah, blah. But her lawyer, again, is an idiot. I've exhausted all the venues I need to. In fact, I could have claimed the federal courts had original jurisdiction in the matter due to the fact that the state of Washington lacked subject matter and personal jurisdiction. I never had to address any state venues before making this a federal matter. I did just to block the state's motions to dismiss. It's the only reason I fucking wasted any time dealing with the state. I've been doing this from the start because I knew what y'all were going to do and what the state was going to do. So from the start, I've set everything up on my end with the explicit purpose of a federal filing. See, one thing you should do, Juliet, or have your attorney do, and I promise you this would be worth paying the fucking money to your attorney to have him do, get every one of my filings since the start of the dependency. Get every one of my filings. Put them all together as if they're just one big filing. Then go through and pull out all the laws. Oh, and you need to even get the things I cite on the record that's not in my filings, because believe me, those transcripts and my audio recordings will be included. Oh yes, it's that extensive. So get the transcripts. Make sure that they're not scrubbed on any aspect. Make sure all my citings and stuff are in there. And then start having your lawyer pull out and compile a list of every case I cite and every law I cite. Have that done. Judge Johnson, you'd be wise to do the fucking same, you moron. Very fucking wise. Miles Russell, Jarrell Sanders, Kate Orlando, Carolyn Merling, all you fucks. Y'all still watch these videos, and I know you do. Y'all be very fucking wise to do the same. Because see, you'll notice if you do that, that you've been out fucking class and outplayed every fucking step of the way. By somebody who's never stepped foot in a law school, or even stepped foot in a fucking law library. Sad, isn't it? I've never even stepped foot in a law library, and I've beat an entire fucking state system. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Anyway, pull it all. Look at what I've cited. Look at what I've used. You'll find y'all are fucked. Because when the federal courts look at this record, you have a couple hundred pieces of case law, 40 to 50 laws or more, legal code and all used by me to point to and illustrate and prove how this has all been done in violation of the law and my rights. And you have the state and you and your attorneys and everybody else involved literally citing nothing. Literally Look at the case file. There's nothing y'all cite to get to for anything. There's zero legal citings to justify anything, zero legal reasons as to how the state can come up with jurisdiction, and may have is extremely ambiguous at best when it requires a significant contact. Because may have, the child may have been conceived in Washington, the child may have been conceived on fucking Mars for all the legal effect it has. And given the fact that there's a very real possibility the child may have been conceived on a military base, that means outside the state of Washington, because that's federal land, not state. So again, may have is extremely ambiguous at best and will not fly or suffice. And they all know this. Why do you think the fucking judge in a child support matter isn't requiring that I refile in Mason County? Why is the commissioner in a child support matter not requiring that the matter be sent to Mason County if I'm so wrong? Why is it I ended the fucking meeting and you still couldn't get the attorney fees awarded to you? I'd love to hear the reason for that. I'd love to hear why you were denied. But we both know that you're not going to tell honestly, and I'm not paying for the transcript because I really don't give a fuck. Even if it would have been order to pay, I would have fucking laughed. I'd have done a video of me wiping my ass with the order. Maybe not literally, but figuratively. Would have burned it or something, literally. Just to show I don't give a fuck about it. Not one damn bit. Wouldn't have been complied with, wouldn't have been followed. Same as the child support order and everything else. Fuck it. I ain't listening to that shit. I don't have to. Void orders. Y'all can kiss my ass. Come after me. But anyway, sorry, I just felt like being a little antagonistic today, folks. Sometimes you just gotta vent and let shit out. It's unhealthy to keep it in. Could be why I have so many health issues. If being honest, really could have a lot to do with it. There's really no safe way to vent your anger and frustration in this. Because, I mean, there's no safe way. You can't harm people. That's just stupid, petty, juvenile, and immature. Not something I'd ever recommend. We should all strive for peace and respect and everything else towards each other, not violence and aggression. I mean, violence has its place in society. All things have a place in society, but it's very limited and it has to be controlled and measured. And in this, it's not really able to be measured. So like I said, there's no real healthy outlet. So this is how I vent. Be a little antagonistic, kind of an ass, but I state facts and I stand by what I say. I can prove my claims, and a lot of it's already on YouTube for y'all to see. So, since Juliet, you're one of the first ones that sees my videos every time I post one, go ahead and comment this time. Respond to things. Only have a fucking spine. Stop being a coward. Respond as yourself. There's no order that says we can't speak. I have no purpose or intent in getting into a screaming or arguing match with you. I will just simply show the proof and utterly destroy every argument you try and make. You can even involve your attorney. I'll make him look stupid as fuck too, because I already have. Watch for my federal filing. Y'all should have it next week. Love y'all. Have a good one. Peace.